Have you heard the saying, the source of all evil is debt, and debt is slavery? And to some extent, it is accurate, because when you are deeply in debt, your life is finished, and even when you are making an effort to pay off your obligations, they are not waiting for you. Since no one loans money for free, they are expanding daily. An interest exists at all times. The United States has accepted that despite all of this. This amounts to about $15 trillion, making the average family debt over $5,000. The U.S. economy is made up entirely of the GDP, which is little over $21 trillion. The good news is that I have it for you. Not necessarily a terrible thing. That is a controversial opinion, given that the majority of our debts are so high that you almost certainly have a credit card. It's a loan for an automobile. You may be a student who believes it will take decades for you to pay off all of your loans. In order to comprehend how debts might possibly be a good thing, one must first ask how on earth they could be. Let's examine how those with deep pockets continue to use it to generate additional revenue. It can sound a little perplexing at first, since why would somebody with a lot of money use something that is meant to be utilized by those who don't have money in the first place? But isn't that how capitalism operates? What a strong statement. If you know how to utilize it, tool additionally, you'll learn how wealthy individuals use it in this video to increase their income. Give this video a thumbs up, and then let's start. Welcome to CSP channel. The classic street billionaire's magnate. For more information on financial prospects and 100% effective passive income ideas, like, subscribe, and share on Facebook. Always look at the explanation links, then take quick action to improve your life. First, it is the foundation of the majority of trade. It could seem a little contentious, since I can personally borrow money to start a business because it is a good idea. Yet, certain firms stand out. Your greatest choice is to use debt in really conventional enterprises. Consider the case where you wish to sell pens. Pens are a highly common commodity, and there is almost always a market for them. You ought to take a plane to China. Find a manufacturer that makes that type of pen with the proper materials and of high quality. At that cost, you could buy a container of pens, send them to the US, and give them to your customers. But that's largely finished now. Using online channels like Alibaba. Unless the situation is more complex. What goods must I bring to the plant via plane? But here's the problem. It's not actually necessary to purchase the items in order to use them. Let me first explain how China has evolved into the world's primary producer during the past 50 years. Literally, thousands of factories continuously manufacture everything the world need, and to facilitate sales, the majority of these companies are more than happy to loan you their goods in exchange for payment at a later date. They wouldn't lend to strangers, of course. Therefore, you will need to initially establish some sort of rapport with them, but this is how business has been for the previous 50 years. Once the customer sells the product in the US or anywhere else, he pays the manufacturer and borrows more goods. In essence, you're informing the factory that you know how to make it. So let me assist you in selling it. If I can get anything more than this for it, I'm going to make money off of that. What? Beck adopted this tactic. Please, ladies, refrain from investing your personal money in this transaction. Selling is one of the most important skills you can learn because of this. Real estate refinancing comes in second. That type of debt is ideal because it has several tax deductions available even if you don't have a mortgage. To be able to take advantage of all those deductions, wealthy people sometimes have numerous mortgages. Keep in mind every dollar you are required to pay in taxes. Nonetheless, you save money, it is an additional dollar gained, so that's one more way for affluent individuals to accumulate wealth. But allow me to tell you a more useful approach. This is essentially how wealthy individuals become wealthy in real estate. Let's assume that you were able to save $300,000. Even if it seems like a lot of money, it's really just peanuts. Not even a house can you buy. Naturally, you cannot obtain a mortgage up to $800,000 because you must put down 20% of the whole amount, but here's the trick. Say you discover a property that cost $500,000, is in poor shape, and needs some renovation, possibly a lot of renovation. You had to go to a bank and put 20% down to acquire a mortgage. Let's assume that your renovation budget will be $50,000, or around 10% of the home's overall cost. You had to rebank once more, but this time you had to refinance your mortgage because the property's valuation when you acquired your initial mortgage was only $500,000 due to its poor condition. Because of your renovations, it is now there even though no one wanted to live there before. Are some who wish to evict it. The market value of that property, let's say, rises to $700,000, and let's assume you're going to acquire an 80% mortgage, but 80% out of $700,000 is $560,000, and $400,000. Out of that money, your first bank will receive $400,000. That provided your initial mortgage. If we subtract the additional $50,000 that you spent on renovations, that leaves us with an additional profit of $110,000. You used debt to make $100,000, and now you have a home you can rent out to increase your equity and get passive income. Additionally, you will not have to pay taxes. This is a fairly typical strategy among real estate investors because you have a mortgage. Can you see clearly? This is followed by that being awful. I'll let you respond to that in the comments area. Hedge funds are want number 3. Hedge funds are created by the rage for the rich to increase the wealth of the wealthy, and they frequently employ controversial tactics. People like you and I do our best to forecast which businesses will expand and increase in value so that we may invest the money we earn. So laboriously earned with the expectation that these firms will grow. However, hedge funds frequently employ a completely different approach. They work to create money when businesses ring or fail, like in the instance of GameStop. Although in that instance, the internet presented a barrier and caused the hedge funds to lose almost $13 billion. However, how do hedge funds profit from that? Say you predict that a particular stock would fall, similar to how Facebook just did, because you know that Apple, the company that makes the most popular smartphone, will declare next week that it will no longer allow applications to monitor users. Apple tracks your online activities and prioritizes privacy over everything else, just like Facebook or Instagram, which severely harms Facebook's economic model. Therefore, you pick up the phone and dial your broker's number to borrow from him a single Facebook stock that, let's say, cost $100 and sell it right away. For $100 on the open market. Congratulations! You now have $100 in your wallet, but your broker is still owed money. One share of Facebook. Let's assume you are correct and Facebook's stock price drops to $70 the next week. Use that $100 to purchase one Facebook share at a discounted price of $70 before giving it back to your broker and keeping it in your own pocket. The distinction. Congratulations! You made $30 from a complete stock. Though it appears straightforward in principle, doing it well is quite hazardous and complicated. What if you're mistaken? What if the cost increases overnight? You still have to give back that one phase, right? Give your broker some Facebook shares and pay interest on the stock you borrowed. You must now purchase it. To return the shares to your broker, you must pay $200. When you purchase a stock and try to sell it when it increases, the most you can lose is the amount you spent, but, when you short a stock, your losses increase if the price rises. Since stock prices might hypothetically increase eternally, you could theoretically sustain a limitless amount of losses. Have 100 analysts working for you, though. This fourth Forex approach is a very profitable one. Here is how it functions, although we've previously covered this in our Forex video, a link to which I'll post in the comments. Forex is a market where currencies are traded, to put it simply. You may utilize the US dollar in international trade since it facilitates. China requires that you purchase Chinese yen in order to, for instance, pay your staff there. Therefore, anyone or any organization can enter the market. Come in and buy foreign currency. These currencies vary based on several causes. For instance, if the Fed raises interest rates, it will reduce the amount of dollars available on the market and strengthen the US dollar relative to other currencies, or vice versa. Therefore, you might make a lot of money in this market if you could forecast which currencies will increase or decrease. However, what distinguishes these markets from the rest is that for every dollar you previously traded on Forex, you may also take out a $100 loan. That implies that if you trade with your $1,000, you are permitted to have a $100,000 position. It will be a tremendous improvement to your credit score if you manage to make a little profit of, say, 1%. As you can see, that is a strong tool that every successful firm employs in a variety of ways. Particularly if you have demonstrated purchase orders and borrowing money to finance operations are both common practices in company models. Stop thinking in terms of everything being evil, especially things with high interest rates like credit card debt. However, you must reduce the risks associated with lending you money in order to receive a reduced interest rate. How do you go about that? You establish a reputation as a risky borrower. The bank has billions, if not trillions, of cash. A borrower is awaiting their request. Banks have the ability to manufacture money out of thin air even if there isn't any. Thank you for watching this video and we shall bring more to you, and always remember that CSB got you covered. One love and see you at the top.